know it's a couple minutes out, but I have already started recording, and I know we'll probably get a few more joining on. Since I won't say everyone's, but most people's schedules is kind of open up for availability for this time slot. Um, so, and we'll get started go ahead and get started. It's about 12. I got 12:59. It won't hurt to fudge a little bit. Make sure the screen is open. There we go. All right. So today, we're going to do a couple of things. It's going to change up a little bit because I know that we've all got wonderings and questions on and our new learning environment of at-home learning and at-home work and teleworking and telecommuting. So as I always do, I will put the PowerPoint up on the website, and then also the recording when it becomes available. But today we're going to start with a wellness check, and then some of your concerns and questions. And then if we do have time, or we'll come back to another day, look at our array of learning experiences, because today was supposed to be the conversation about our curriculum options and how do we do that. And so it's still there on the platform, but first and foremost, in our COVID-19 life experiences and some of the concerns and wonderings that you may have at this point. And I just want to do a wellness check on you and make sure everything is going well. But I want to start off with some guidance that is available through the agency. Hopefully everyone has been looking and going forward on the main. So these are the web links that you will find there. The main one is just if you're looking for anything that the agency has put out about COVID-19, you will find it there. And then the next link is the instructional continuity planning. Pretty soon on the following link, which is our SPED and special populations, you'll see things for SPED, EL, our other populations, and gifted and talented will be coming up soon to that site on some of our guidance on how to handle this and how to go forward. And some of the frequently asked questions that we received. And then the last one is a TA letter that's gone out on SAT, the TSI, AP, and IB. And so some of that guidance has been put out so that you'll have it so you know what's going forth. So wellness check. How are you doing? You might want to unmute yourselves, and if you want to throw out something, if you just want to just put it in the chat, we got it going there. But if anyone wants to talk about what's going on, some concerns in your area, I know that there's been new counties, new cities as of today that have gone on shelter in place, so that at-home learning is very becoming our norm for right now. So anybody would like to share? Talk about what they're doing, how's it going? El Paso just issued, okay? Anyone? Quiet.
Okay, hi Monica, it's Margot in Pearland.
Hi Margot.
Okay, we're up and running, and it's been a struggle, and the good news is everyone has been really helpful. Lots of people throughout the state just chiming in with friends and offering support, and all working together, we're making it happen. And I've had some new things to learn in the last few weeks. I'm sure everyone around the state has, but it was really helpful to have College Board come out with their information last Friday, and then we're eagerly anticipating some further adjustments regarding exams on April 3rd, I believe. But everyone from pre-K to AP and GT and everybody in between is up in virtual school in Pearland. So anyway, I'm glad you're continuing with the GT TA updates.
Marvelous, thank you.
It's a turn to normalcy that I really appreciate. So
I try.
All right.
I try.
I'm going to let someone else have a turn.
Okay. All right, thank you, Monica. Thank you, Margot. Also, yeah, I'm gonna try to keep this, try to keep us in normalcy, but then also looking at throwing out the other question of, do we need to add a few more on a few other things that now that you may have a little more opportunity to have open discussion points of, because I was thinking, the big question has always been for the last few months is, our guidance on best use of funds. So maybe this is a good opportunity to have that while you have a little bit more opportunity, free time is to actually have that conversation, draft our state language as we go forth, as you look at it, and we'll be ready for um, the school year. So how many of you are closed for till some point in April or for the rest of the school year? Because I think that's some are indefinite. I know Dallas ISD, a couple other ISDs went for an indefinite, but then there are those who have gone for a specific date. So April 3rd, some are starting April 6th, and so in April 13th. Wow. Okay. So we got various lengths of time where schools are out. I know a lot of the colleges around us have just basically told students to go home and don't come back, and we're going online. So that's very interesting. So, okay. So a lot of you are going back in April. Okay. So it's just a few weeks, a couple weeks in this downtime. But as you know, we're going to be flexible as we move forward in this process. All right. So I think as we go forth, are there any particular questions that you have not sent me so far? The questions I have received a few questions, and then we will also open it up for anyone else who has questions and what other wonderings.
I have a question, Monica.
Yes.
Maybe someone's asked you, I'm just trying to figure things out. What do we do about the GT testing that was in progress and anything that we still needed to do for the year?
Okay. So testing in progress. So basically we're going to go, my guidance at the moment is that just stop where you are with your assessments. Don't worry about it. My thought process is, if you're in the midst of it, just stop. If you have completed it and you're getting ready for a selection process, determine a safe means to do that with your teams. To do that, either using a locked Excel document, using Adobe, using PDFs where the information is safe, but they can still do a fillable, a check yes or no kind of document, so that you don't have to worry about someone messing up the data in those fields, because you want and then maintaining confidentiality of those students. So figuring out some kind of process to do that. I know a lot of you have been going online previously with Google Docs and different things on how you do that within your district or your own platform. So if you're at that stage, I would say go ahead and try to figure out how you can do that in this new environment. And then for others, some of you are, I'm gonna go, some of you to think either late summer or in the fall, because once we already know these students are stressed out, you're stressed out. And if when you go back, you got things to get, how do we get started back up? And they're not gonna be in the mindset for testing and preparing and whatsoever. So just go ahead, and I would suggest start planning for either late summer or fall as you go forth in this process. And then got Paulina on the line. Paulina, are you there?
I am.
All right, and you want to give us some info on TAGT?
Yeah, I mainly wanted to just touch base with you guys. I'm super impressed that you're able to even log on this. I know everything is up in the air, and I've got a 6.5-year-old at home, so I'm feeling what a lot of you guys are feeling in this kind of crazy time. TAGT is here to help with anything that you guys need, so please don't think it's awkward or weird to reach out and say, hey, I have questions about this and that, and I want to talk to a couple of coordinators, and we'll set up a Zoom channel and get a chat going as soon as we can. So please let us know how we can support you in this. We have the emerging, like, kind of non-virus related business still happening. And so we wanted to make sure that you guys were aware our Emerging Leaders program is open for applications, and that is our year-long program for coordinators with 1 to 3 years of experience. They are paired with a mentor, so it's another opportunity to be involved if you're interested. They meet monthly via Zoom, so you will all be skilled at doing that, and talk about all of the things that that you need to know as coordinators as you kind of step into that career path. The application's open through mid-April, so please spread the word on that. It's easily found at our website, and you'll be getting emails and stuff for both mentor and applicant applications. And then obviously Leadership Conference was canceled. If you were registered, you should have gotten a couple of emails from us about what's happening next, but we are hosting on April 16th a day of webinars for people who continue to be registered, as well as some Connect chats, which are kind of those Zoom conversations that are more open and collaborative. And so keep an eye out for those. Let us know if there's anything specific that you'd like to hear from. And then just for resources to pass on to your parents that are more virus related, we are doing some Facebook Live sessions. We did one last week with Colin Seal, one tonight with Andy McNair, and next, I think this Thursday we have one with Layla Seguras. She's talking about kind of mental health. Christine Fonseca will do one next week, also on kind of more student-related mental health. And so kind of stay tuned to our Facebook page and pass those on to the parents in your area, or even in your own community, to kind of help keep everybody sane. Last thing is that if you're interested in serving on the TAGT board, the board application is open again till mid-April. And so keep an eye out for the emails on that, or check out the website under you'll see what positions are open and how to apply or nominate somebody.
So Paulina, you had a question.
Yes.
Are those sessions open to everyone or just members?
The Facebook Live is open to anybody. Like, it's just on our Facebook page. So all you have to do is have a Facebook account. The Connect chats will probably host several. Some of them will be open to people who continue to be registered for Leadership Conference, which is again postponed until Gifted Plus in June. It's kind of our way of making sure that everybody feels whole around, having to have canceled or postponed that event. So we'll be very clear on who these are open to. The chats are typically only open to members as well. So we are open for business. If you're not a member, you need to renew, definitely let us know how we can help you with that. Knowing that districts aren't, right now really writing checks and in the offices, you can join or register for Gifted Plus without actually paying. You can select the Invoice Me option, and then we'll follow up with your district on collecting the payment. So if you feel like your membership's about to expire and you don't want to miss out, just select the Invoice Me option, and we will we'll collect payment when things get back to normal. Is that helpful? Was that the question?
Yes.
Okay.
All right. So I see your question, Monica Parkhill, and we'll work something out and see what we can do for you. And anyone else have anything, other questions, concerns, wonderings, want to share before we continue on?
Monica,
Yes.
this is Holly Naskey, Irving ISD.
Hi, Holly.
Hi. Do you know if we're going to have to show how we provided services during this time, especially if it goes on longer?
So, no. At this point in time, I'm not, I don't foresee us asking how you're providing services. That may be something you want to do internally of how do you look at how those services are being provided. I know some are doing little mini lessons that are correlated with the core subject areas that can be substituted out using TPSP. Some of you are still providing GTs, your GT coordinators or your pullout are still offering a little like mini activities. Some of the things we're thinking of is what can we do to also help support that. I know some other ESCs are developing some mini lessons. One thing I was thinking, there's a possibility, and y'all can just tell me to stop it and hold it. Is like a virtual TPSP for us as a state, and kind of do little mini activities out there, or just kind of explain it, and then let the kids and parents, because when I was thinking about this, there was a lot of parents that are academically unchallenged at this moment also, but want something else to do or something fun. So it's like kind of still keep it student-based, but then open it opportunity so that you can't say it's a parent-done activity, but actually do a family TPSP project.
I'm most concerned about my kindergartners who just started their TPSP projects with their teachers and stuff.
And so maybe, looking at it as here's a family project that will kind of get everybody involved, but we know that, it's still somewhat services, but it's not actually, other than, we have a virtual fair at some point, they can just talk about what they've done. So maybe it's, just coming up with different ways of how they're documenting what they're doing, how they're doing it, how they're looking at each other. And then, having an open forum just to discuss how they've done their research, what they've been doing. And, especially with the kindergartners, it might be better just to our kindergartners or even our primary kids, some of them, is to really open it up to a family or a partner process. Because I have a coworker, she's looking what to do with her child, and they're they're already having little Zoom meetings and having these conversations of reading to each other or talking about what they've been doing. So that might be another venue that we can look at. So
yeah, we've also had to postpone, and we don't know for how long, our big district GT showcase.
Okay.
And so some people have said that they would like a virtual TPSP. Any ideas or anything that we can come up with for that so that our kids could present to an audience what they've created?
Okay. All right.
Hey, Monica, as you
Donna.
at 7, Carla and I have been working on that very thing. We're going to be talking with the ESC GT people Thursday.
Okay.
What we've done is taken a couple of the existing TPSP projects, looked at expanding those virtually, looked at taking what was initially there and making them cross-curricular so that it's not segmented instruction for kids. It can be used for gifted, but also for all students, where here is the initial impetus for the standard or the task in and of itself, and this is how we can pull in virtual resources. This is how we can pull in family. With regard, the one at the lower grades, we've pulled in a family affair, which I thought was very appropriate. Another one we're looking at is Texas Gateway, and taking the kids globally around the world and looking at what constitutes historical markers, what constitutes national landmarks around the world, especially in older cultures. So we're trying to get the kids so that they're virtually exploring and then doing those projects and those products through that. So that's what Region 7 is working on at this time.
So Donna, there was a question in the chat. You probably see it. So I think she's starting out with the ESCs, and then we'll see how it spreads from there. But then also we're looking, I'll be talking with my leadership. So some kind of way this will all meet together, and we will I'll just put it on the somewhere in May. Let's put it that way. Somewhere in May, we'll all have some kind of virtual fair that we can actually share if we're in school or if we're not in school. Share what we're doing, what our students are doing, have an open platform just to, to get them that performance level, give them that opportunity to talk about what they've learned. And so it'll probably be 20 days of May. So we'll have one for each region, if not the whole state. So we'll work it out. So, all right, we'll work it out and get it out there for you. Okay. Other questions? All right. All right. So that leads us to, we only have a few more left as we go forth. And as we go forth, we may need to change a couple of these, or think about, have that conversation on how will this look as we get back into the role of things. Because our next one is progress monitoring and reporting. How does that look? How are you looking? And it kind of is, how do we check, especially at this point in time also, how do we determine they're doing the work? How do we report that out? How do we communicate with our parents, the progress of our students to show the growth? And I think this is, kind of interesting that these two, meeting the needs through curriculum and progress monitoring, kind of landed at this point in time in our lives. But today we're going to talk about curriculum, and as we go forward, I always like to remind you of the state goal. So right now we have demonstrated our own self-directed learning. We're thinking about communication. We are researching different platforms to communicate and looking at these innovative products and performance, so that our students can perform out there. And then so they can show that they have produced quality products. And so if you have some, if you've come across some great online platforms or services, shoot that to me in an email so that we can share. I will be happy, or put it in the chat. I will be happy to post those so that we can all use different various learning environments as we move forward in this new realm. I am been included into a Microsoft Learning environment conversation here with the agency as we are teleworking. And so far, Microsoft, if you're using that platform, they have a lot of other opportunities to use, other than just writing, using Word, PowerPoint, and using some other strategies. So let's keep our minds open and look at what's out there, and especially what's out there that's free or that is already being paid for through the district. So we're looking at curriculum. So when you're looking at that, how are you modifying for the depth, the complexity, and the pacing of the curriculum? And so right now we're really looking at how are we adding in that complexity with this ability to work at home, and working at how do we provide them with those experiences? How do we ensure that they're doing research, that advanced products and performances, how do we look at that? And then helping parents understand scheduling. And then as we move forward and as we look at this, how do we improve our services? How do we look at the next steps? And then everybody some kind of way adapting or modifying their curriculum to serve their students. So as we move forward, we're actually, living in practice are, those array of learning opportunities. How are we making sure students have those opportunities, and then thinking outside of the box on how to provide those opportunities at home with parents who are still trying to work, or parents who are struggling to understand their child in the first place, or, things are just totally overwhelmed, or more children at home with them. So understanding those opportunities that we are not in control of anymore, but then also ensuring that something is being produced by our students to show that they are learning, that they are growing. Um, and for some of our kids, that's a little bit difficult for our parents, and to ensure they are, and this is where you got to think of those options that you're going to provide as a district. Um, and what platforms you're going to do and how you're going to get that to them. If it's a paper packet, if it's um, choice boards, choice sheets, tic-tac-toes, uh, or just using your media that you have available. So when we look at learning experiences, what are your four core curriculum? Most of you are already working with English language arts, math, science, and social studies. As you go through those opportunities, and then as you look at the options as you go forth into the higher exemplary level of looking at and adding in the creativity and the artistic, your leadership, and then your specific academic fields. Some of you are actually also looking at some of your CTE courses as part of those learning experiences. And as you look at these opportunities for learning, what are your outcomes from these experiences? How do they relate to the subject area? And then how are you ensuring that either it has the depth or the complexity, but then is it appropriately paced for your students? And always keeping in mind that even though it may seem accelerated or fast-paced in their realm, it has to be different than what is happening, especially when, and Margot will have a chuckle with this one when you talk about, because they're talking about it in Pearland, a welding curriculum opportunity. And there's a lot of opportunities for licensures and to getting those certificates. But if that is not the end all, that might be the end all of the product or the service, but that is not the qualification to get into program services. So you have to look at how are they getting into program services, how are those teachers doing something above and beyond? What is the above and beyond that is not for the regular student? Because you have to remember, we're comparing it to their age, their peers, and their environment. And if it's not above and beyond, it's not showing that depth, that complexity, it's not moving at a faster pace or a different pace, then how we're saying that this is actually a part of your gifted and talented services. So we need to look at, when we're talking about our learning experiences, especially in our smaller school districts, well and good that they are, we're looking at how do we up it? Because sometimes they can't be in a separate class. But how do we up it? How do we determine this is different for this one kid in this one GT, this one GT service for this one kid in the midst of all of these other kids, without making them feel alienated, but also making sure it's the appropriate learning experience for that kid. So having those conversations. So, and then also looking at those selected disciplines. And that's where a lot of us pull it in, where we're using the independent study. We're using those, either those independent research courses or using TPSP or some other project-based learning activities that we're using as we go into, if they've got a music, some of you have those fine-tuned programs and services as they move into the process. So what are you looking at? What are you pulling into the system? And then when you're also looking at it, I know a lot are more emphasized on math and science, but we also need to look at what are our writers? What are our options for our writers, for our English learners? What are our options for those who want to excel in something else? So, STEM and STEAM is very popular, but we have students who are interested in writing, in reading, and history. So what are we doing to help those students also to be to pursue their interests? So then we get into our continuum of learning. So 4.3, and when we look at what are those advanced level products? And that's where a lot of you can really define for some of your educators and your co-workers, what is an advanced level product compared to what your expectations is for a student in the program and in a regular course. So you have the TPSP, you also have the rubrics for the TPSP. How do you overlay the, it might be just overlaying the rubric with your regular core subject rubrics, or looking at what are those expectations of students. If you remember 2 weeks ago, I shared with you the Gifted and Talented Independent Study Mentorship course, looking at those essential knowledge and skills. What are those things being required out of there? What are the skills required out of college career standards, out of the interdisciplinary studies? How do you overlay those experience, those requirements out of those standards into your core curriculum and adding into those services? And then for exemplary, you're looking that they have served, if those students have actually produced, and then you actually have someone outside of your that has been a part of the judging of that. So working with your community, and that's part of those community conversations of getting those external evaluators, getting those people who are knowledgeable about it, getting your community buy-in. And this is part of one of those good times to start. They're sitting at home, start asking for people to be involved, get into, would you like to judge? Would you like to mentor a student, to talk about their programs, their services, find someone who can actually have these conversations with some of our students, especially our high schoolers, on their projects, on their programs, and to, open up a platform, a conversation of, this is what this looks like on my job compared to what they're looking at in high school. So at this point, I'm going to open it up the floor once again. So what are you doing for curriculum-wise in the normal, typical world with your program services? I think it's a good time to kind of ask how many are actually using Texas Performance Standards Project, or how many of you are using other project-based learning activities. So I'm gonna open the floor. Okay, so
Monica.
Donna.
Thank you, Monica.
You're welcome.
I have found with working with teachers that sometimes knowing where to start, especially with the differentiated curriculum with depth, complexity, and pacing. In the research I've been doing and looking at, for a long time now, is looking at pre-assessment and understanding that to know where these kids are, you've got to pre-assess that specific knowledge so that you can take that curriculum that's ordinarily provided by the district and then look at depth and complexity through that. So I think that's vital in anybody understanding what do they already know, because so many of them are just sitting through regular instruction and nothing different's happening until the product. And I think we're missing so many opportunities. So just thought I wanted to share that as we continue forward with curriculum. Thank you.
Thank you. So on that note also, so as you know, we do have a depth and complexity training and a differentiated instruction training, part of our 30 hours. And in the fall, we will be rolling out a secondary emphasis specifically on depth and complexity. John Gould is actually developing that for us. And so that will be coming out. And then part of that development, we are totally coming out with, he is updating all of our icons and depth and complexity information for us. And so those will be rolled out for us pretty soon too. So hopefully we can get you some more options out there and get you a little bit more current with some of that. Okay, so I see we need a compact training. Compacting training, all right. I have it on my list. All right. So the next one is actually the Texas Performance Standards Project and other experiences that result in the development of sophisticated products and our performances outside the classroom, and it's available through your curriculum. And so I think from the chat, I see that most of you are using TPSP, so I won't go totally in depth with this with you. But I do think I've done several years ago one for parents on what is TPSP, what to look for, and kind of just an introduction. So I think I will update that and re-record that and put that on the website so that if there's something that you want to share with your parents, that they can do that. So we have all those beautiful tasks out there in regular, 2 versions, actually for most of them 3. Um, the 7E and the Spanish. So we have the traditional version, the 7E, and our Spanish TPSP task out there. And so there is over 100 tasks available for you with the so we got our samples of student work. So the rubrics in the Spanish as well. I want to say yes, but let me make sure before I definitely say yes, because I think that was one of our goals, but I think they were there available. I have so many screens up, I can't find it. And give me 1 minute and I will tell you if it is.
Monica, I'm not seeing the assessment pieces of the rubrics in Spanish, and maybe I'm just not looking correctly, but I don't see them.
Okay, so I think, so our last conversation with our provider, they will be updating those to Spanish. So that will be forthcoming. Gotta find my mouse. I have converted the TV to be a part of the system. All right. And so, as you know, we have actually on the website sample videos and activities. So I won't go through any of these videos, but as you will probably get to look at them later, you will see them there. And then here's the one that opportunities are provided to accelerate in areas of student stress. So I know a lot of you have, you are either, there's 2 worlds in the thought process of acceleration. It's either full grade or nothing. Or we can look at different ones, and hopefully all of you will be looking at what is the best interest of the child. And so if you're looking for more information on the credit by exam information, there's that link. As you know, most students either do full grade level or subject area through your AP exam or your CLEP. And then you also have your exam options through Texas Tech and the University of Texas at Austin high school programs. And so those are your options, your 4 windows. I know some of you have used those extensively. As you know, we're also not under that order anymore. They have been vetted. So you can use those for Algebra 1 and your other ELC courses for your 8th graders or your younger students testing out of those courses. Now, what you do need to consider is if you have a student who is moving at a different pace for acceleration, what are your options as they accelerate up the grade levels? So if you got a 7th grader doing Algebra 1, will geometry be available at 8th grade? Or is it 6th grader doing Algebra 1? Are they doing it at the high school, middle school, elementary, depending on where you are? What are your options? If you have an agreement for the parent to get to the high school, now that can't do it, what are your options? What are your considerations? Also be real, knowing that there are online courses that you can take through the virtual school network. So when you start thinking about your acceleration and looking at those opportunities, look at the full gamut. It's not just either we're going to place this child in someone else's classroom to get the instruction, but is what happens after that. And then also look if you are moving them into another teacher's classroom, say a third grader into a fourth grade math or a fourth grade science, which teacher is the best teacher? That's why we're working with our counselors to look at, that's why they need specialized training, so that they know, you got some teachers that's not the best fit for our students. Some teachers are better than others. How do you look at acceleration? Where are we moving? How we're moving them? How we're making sure growth is happening? What are they learning in those classes, and making sure that they're in it. And then there are some of you who are have really compacted your curriculums, and where you're doing total acceleration, where you're doing sixth grade, 6-7, seventh grade, 7-8. You're mixing it up to where you can move forward into those courses earlier. All right, so the question out there is, what options do people have for students who take AP Cal as juniors or even sophomores? AP Cal, all right. So are you looking just specifically dual credit? All right.
Looking for any options.
All right, any options. Okay. So we got one from Holly. They're doing a dual credit duration of calculus. Beyond that, is Audrey, because I see you still live, is there options for dual credit in your, what district are you?
Northwest.
Northwest, okay.
We have options. We're just trying to figure out what the best options are, especially because the kids who are accelerated to that degree are ideally going to be probably going to be going into something that is a math-based career. And so, you run into the problem of, even with AP Calculus, if you're going to be an engineer and you go to A&M, they're still going to make you take their calculus. So we want to make sure we're providing good opportunities that aren't just like time fillers
Yeah.
you know what I mean? And there's only so many types of calculus that can be offered in a dual credits setting, I think. So I was just wondering what institutions people were partnering with, or do you have other really creative ideas for this? Okay, Monica?
I hear you, Margot.
Okay, and Audra. We had a similar issue in Pearland. We've had it for a couple of years where our students did not have a high school math course available for them after Calculus BC. And our dual credit partner does not offer what I would call the next step for them. And that'd be challenging. And so we started exploring other options a few years ago. And so this fall we're offering a new class, which is we call it LAMVAC for short. That's linear algebra and multivariable calculus. And it's a full year class with course with those two pieces in it. We're very fortunate to have Corey Cogswell in our department, who really loves math. It's his favorite thing in the world to do. And so he's helping to write that curriculum. The challenge is it's going to take us a year to get a teacher able to teach that to that level. It's not a college credit class. We've always had the option for students to take a course at University of Houston or Rice or any other school that would give them a class. And there are online classes as well, but we felt that there was a lot of value in the FaceTime and instruction from a teacher in person. Of course, can't do that right now, but hopefully in the future, we do think that's a valuable tool. And we like the idea of students collaborating in person for problem solving and development of strategies. So that's one course that we'll hope to implement this fall. Some of our seniors want to take that extra class period off, and so we'll see how that goes. And it may take a year or two to develop any type of good following, but our students who are in 8th grade and just entering high school were very excited about that opportunity down the road. The next class that we're offering, hopefully the following school year, which would be 21-22, is what we call LOCO, which is 1 semester of logic and then a semester of combinatorics. And
Of what?
yeah, I know, that's like LOCO, logic, which is pretty, which would be good for anyone who's studying law, you know, or just anything that requires some logical thinking. But combinatorics, I had to learn what that was too. Thank you, Corey. That's a study of numbers. It's just fun with numbers. If you've been watching some of like the John Hopkins map and the trends with the coronavirus globally, and then the predictions on when and controlling, leveling that curve, that's combinatorics. It's just fun with the numbers. If you know, when you get that update from your American Express saying, hey, you had an unusual activity, that it's a study of numbers. And so we intend to use the same textbook that Rice University uses for that, that class. Again, it's not for college credit, it's for kids who just love math, and we don't want them to have 2 or 3 years off without a theoretical math class. AP Statistics and AP Computer Science A do receive math credits, but they're more of an application of mathematical skills and computational thinking rather than any type of instruction theory. And Corey, please go ahead and unmute if you can explain that better than I did. So going forward, that's our plan. We're hopeful that students will be excited about that and want to take those classes. But it'll be for local credit, and so we'll see how that goes.
Thanks.
You're welcome to contact me next year this time and say, how did it go? Did class even make? So
would you mind shooting me your email in the chat?
I'll be glad to. I'll just put it out there for everybody. Okay.
Thank you.
Margot, so one thing to consider is to, because I know the logic is also available. I think that's the innovative course that you're pulling from. Is the other one is go ahead and submit that as an innovative course after your first year, so that they can get state credit for it as an elective.
All right, Mr. Cogswell, can you unmute and elaborate?
I think you did a fine job. Combinatorics is really just the study of counting. It's taking those logical proof type assignments and exercises and applying it to numbers. So it's preparing kids for a study in possibly abstract algebra or number theory when they get to college. And so it's basically the mathematical application of the logic they learned during the first semester.
All right, thank you both. All right, thanks for the question. And so it kind of goes as, we kind of addressed it also in flexible pacing. So making sure that, that they are able to learn at their own pace, at their level that is appropriate for their skills and abilities. And then I pulled in the definition from the glossary that we provided for flexible pacing, so that you know that you're using the appropriate instructional level. You're looking at that. So how you're compacting a course, what those advanced courses are. So some of you are using these methods as a part of your services. So as you go forth, just kind of wanted to hit that. Oh, I did not say the right one. All right, I figured it. So this one is still looking at, we kind of put this one in to ensure that if you did need to make scheduling modifications, I know especially at the high school level, it's kind of giving you some of that background, that a little bracing, so that if you have someone push back, kind of like you have something to fall back on till it says, it's in the state plan that I have the ability to modify our schedules if we need to meet our student needs. So kind of giving you some there. And then when you look at improvement, and when you look at your district and your campus improvement plans, how are we looking to improve our services? As you go forth each year, what are your program services looking like? What is your curriculum looking like? Are you looking to say, this is how we can step this up, this is how we can improve this, this didn't work this year, but it's worked 2 years, do we need to do a study on this? What, you know, did the students change? So as you look at how can you provide better services to our students, take the time to look at that, look at what's going on and put it in your campus improvement plan, put it in your district improvement plan, so that everyone knows this is where our goals are, this is where we're looking, and it's more beyond just our PD options, or what conferences we may go to. And then at the exemplary level, you're providing resources and time for your staff to develop curriculum. I know curriculum varies for everyone. If you're looking at, are you relying on, for the core subjects, whatever the textbook has for GT, or you actually stepping in to say, this is how we're going to compact it, this is how we're going to move it up above. What are we looking at with our own curriculum within our district to say, this is how we want to meet the GT needs, especially if you're doing differentiated instruction, depth and complexity in the regular classroom. Do you have someone going in with those curriculum writers in the beginning of the year? I know when I was there in the district, in language arts, I was the one who wrote the GT side of it. So do you have someone who's writing that GT side of it, who's writing your GT curriculum? Or you just, so thinking of how can you add those pieces? How can you do that overlay? What are you looking for and to provide services to our students? And then modifications. So how are you adapting or modifying the core curriculum or your standard curriculum to meet your needs for your twice exceptional, your highly gifted, and your English learners? As I said, I've been playing while we've been off, been teleworking. And so Microsoft has this opportunity to translate. And so this is Korean, actually. And so I just translated the language from 4.9 and did a translate and it put it there. I can tell you if it's correct or not, but this is my effort on adapting the language. So this is easy translation. I don't know if it works well with everything, but you know, we're going to put the good faith effort out there. So what are you doing to make sure that we're looking at it differently? How we're looking at what we're doing for our twice exceptional. As you know, within our realm, we're looking at, our SPED students, our dyslexic students, autistic students. What are we doing to make sure that all of our students with a disability or a language barrier has the access to learning at their level with their abilities? And so really working, we've been working with the agency as a part of that, and we're working with our counterparts in the curriculum side to develop differentiated instruction for English language arts and the TEKS guides. And within that, I'm looking for a few people who are in the English language arts, K-8, predominantly K-8 right now, looking for some volunteers from instructors who would like to look at, who's using the TEKS guides, who are using our TEKS to be a part of a little focus group. So if you have someone that's available, shoot me an email, letting me know that you have some people that would like to be a part of that focus group to talk about the TEKS guides, how we're moving forward. It has been highly recommended to us that we look at our new teachers more than some of our experienced teachers with the TEKS guides and the information that we're going to provide in those. So that is something that we're going to move forward with. So if you have someone you would like to recommend, shoot me an email and let me know, and then we'll work out how we're going to organize that conversation. So just kind of reminder of, once again, we are to provide a challenging curriculum, and that does start with the TEKS. And then we try to, whenever is available, to overlay that with the College Career Readiness Standards, include the essential knowledge and skills from the GT Independent Study Mentorship course, add in that level of creativity for our students, thinking about the depth and complexity that can be included, making sure we're doing appropriate pacing for our students, and then differentiating our curriculum. All of that works to provide the curriculum that we're looking for our GT students and how we can provide them with better quality service as we go forward. So that kind of ends it for today. Any other questions, concerns, wonderings, or some other common good information for the populace? I'm gonna take that as a note. All right, and so the date and time on this is incorrect, but that is my email. And let me get back to the slides so I can tell you what, because our next meeting will be at 9 on April the 7th at 9 a.m. unless you want another meeting before that. But our next GT Tuesday will be on the 7th. We will be talking about progress monitoring and reporting. And then if anyone, I might throw out a date for just conversation on best use of funds and budgeting, and that in the interim time between that. So, but I hope everyone did take a spring break before we went to at-home schooling, and take some time to rest and to recoup and regather. And as we move forward, feel free to reach out, call me, email me. We are teleworking at the agency, so I have my computer. I am available. So whatever you may need, I will do my best to provide you whatever service that you may need as we go forth in this new learning environment. So if there are no other questions, wonderings, I want to say thank you. Have a great day, and till next time. You're welcome. All right, I'm going to, yeah.